name is Dorian, and I'm going to present you our submission for the AI Song Contest. Wait, I made a presentation. Right. Let's start. So together with some colleagues at dataroots, we created a song and we did a submission for the AI Song Contest. Now, what is this contest? It's something it's a contest that has been organized by the VPRO, which is a Dutch broadcasting radio station. And they were wondering, like, okay, is it already feasible to, with artificial intelligence, create songs that would win the Eurovision Song Contest? The reason that they asked themselves this question is mainly because it was supposed to take place into the Netherlands this year in Rotterdam. So the contest is pretty simple. They ask everybody to create a song and to use as much as possible machine learning methods and artificial intelligence into the song generation. We went a bit far with this question, and we put different hypotheses at the start. And we asked ourselves, how can we generate a full song with one click on the button? So we really wanted to let artificial intelligence create a song completely. To do this, we set up a framework, and that will then also be the input for our generation script. What's in the input is first the content of the song, which is defined by the title that you want to give it. Then also the genre, then the structure of the song, which I will go into a little bit later, and also the choice of instruments that should blend well together. So let's look at how this would look like. I have a script here with Colab. I will already run it because at the end of the script, you have a fully generated song without the voice. So we start it. And so at the end, we will listen to this and see what it gives us. Are you also curious? I'm curious. All right. So as you can see here, as the title of the song, we put "Time is an illusion, lunchtime doubly so." The well-read under us will recognize this quote. I'll leave it to the chat. For simplicity, I'm not putting a genre in here. And the structure would look something like this. It's a JSON format, if you want to. And it's a chronological order, the real different sections that you want in your song. So we start with an intro, then we have a verse, chorus, then we do the verse again, bridge, chorus, bridge. This is a pretty standard and generic structure of a song. You can see that there are also other parameters that you can define. You can define the amount of bars, like how many times you repeat it. You can define the tempo and the key of each section. And that way you can construct your own song, but you can generate it all by the machine. So let's go back. One of the first things that we generate is the actual lyrics for the song. And this is done based on the title. We generate these lyrics with a transformer model. It's widely available through OpenAI. It's a GPT-2. It's a pre-trained model, pre-trained on 40 gigabytes of text. Then it has been continuously trained, not by us. It was also available on all lyrics through a chemical competition. And then on top of that checkpoint, what we did is we continued training with Eurovision lyrics. This because one of the things that they asked us is to make a song that's well suited for Eurovision contest. And so as I already kind of introduced, the title will be the prefix for the lyrics generation. So the rest of the lyrics are all based on the title. It's a definition for the content. I think now already we should have the lyrics in the script. So we can go back and look at it. Let's see. So here, as you can see, the first line is indeed time is an illusion, lunchtime doubly so. And then we have very generic lyrics. Every hour I'm looking for a match. There's a flame in every shade, a devil that I can't exercise. It's a pretty cruel one, this one. But in the end, he's also very happy, and he repeats a lot of times that he is alive. So yeah, that's how you generate lyrics for a Black Eyed Peas song. It looks to me, or maybe even like a death metal band. This one, the devil that I can't exercise. I really like that. If you want, lyrics are available after the webinar. Then next part about song creation. And this is how to actually generate the core for the music. We'll use a concept that is a trio, and we'll be generating trios. Now, what is a trio? Except a well-known position. It is, you can have like the melody, which is, for example, a piano, together with the rhythm, which is the drums, and a bass line, for example, by a bass guitar. Later, we can still change these instruments. These trios can be generated with variational autoencoders. There's already like a full trio variational autoencoder available open source through Magenta, which has been hosted by Google itself. And what the variational autoencoder does is it creates a space where each point in the space is already a piece of music of 16 bars, which sounds decent and sounds already a little bit musical. Now, I've listened to these samples by myself already. Like if you would just randomly generate samples, and it's a little bit musical, but it's still very random, and it's not really melodically interesting. Something that you would put out on the radio market, or that you would hear on the radio. So what we did to improve this is we looked at the MIDI data that we received from the contest organizers, and they provided us a lot of Eurovision songs, which were already normalized and that we could use. And we trained different subspaces based on each section. So we have like a subspace in this full trio space for each genre and each section. The interesting thing about these spaces is about this huge space is that you can also do some interpolation and you can do some cross sections, and that you can actually ask if you have a subspace. I want to have this piece. I want to have it as well a little bit in a poppy way. I want so you can say I want a poppy intro. I want a metal verse, and you can say all that stuff with these subspaces. The genre subspaces is something that we try to train with an internet database, as you would say. We scraped MIDI files from Ultimate Guitar, which is a lot of tablature to learn guitar. And the problem with the current current settings is that the data is very noisy, so we don't have really musical results, but it already sounds, you can hear that that kind of worked. So this is still a very experimental feature, but with a lot of potential. Then, since we are already generating introductions from the intro spaces, verse from the verse space, and a chorus from the chorus space, we can generate infinite amount of samples from these subspaces. The question is now like, okay, but how do we tie that all together? And based on the input that we saw before, so we put forward some sections. Thing is, since we can do some arithmetics within the space, is that we can also find shortest distances between several paths. And so we can do like all short distance algorithms that we like. Like here, I think we used a version of Dijkstra, but you could also use a Viterbi algorithm if you'd like. And that way, you can actually generate the best sequence based on all the samples that you randomly generated. There are also some enhancements, which you could see already in the input, as showed before in the Colab. And that is that you can ask, okay, here I want a voice melody. You can also add dynamics by adding chords as an underlying layer, which adds more drama, which can make the chorus sound much more victorious, which is exactly what people like in Eurovision songs. You can drop instruments to add different dynamics. I can also modulate between different keys. Like now is maybe a good time to listen to our results, and I'm curious about what people will say in the chat about what we just generated. Okay, first I need to check if can you hear this? Because I'm not sure that I put this. Okay, I will pause the screen share and we share the screen share. Share computer sound. All right, now everybody should be able to hear it. synthesizer that we hear on top of it, that's like the vocal track. So this is something that we will see a little bit later. This is what we are going to transform to actual, like a singing voice. Also, the instruments that you hear here can still be changed and be post-processed later on. You can also choose which instruments you like. So as you see, I just did a restart, run all script, and then we had this result. I kind of like it. Maybe there's something that we can make it. We can add it to our album later on. So the thing is, it's still lacking some voice, of course. So let's see how we did this. We used an open source voice synthesis tool named Sensei. This is a Japanese girl singing for us. You can also choose male. I don't know what else you can choose. Maybe you can choose a bear to sing your song or something like that, or an android. I don't know. But we in the final submission, what we did is we still manually aligned the lyrics that we generated together with the song. But also this is automatable, and I think recently a colleague Tim has pushed through to this and actually makes it also automatable to create the whole voice thing on the song. And that way you also have like really a singing voice. We'll hear her later, but she has a beautiful voice and she never sings out of tune, maybe a bit robotic, but it's doing well. Okay, so now we go to the submission that we sent to the contest. Compared to other submissions, we can already say that it's less professionally produced by less professional artists and musicians, but it's a raw thing that really has been generated fully by AI, which makes it, in my opinion, more interesting than most of the other submissions. So now Adele will sing it for us. The song itself is called Violent Delights Have Violent Endings. You can find it on Spotify under the name Beatroots AI. It's a quote of Romeo and Juliet from Shakespeare. As you can see that the mascot of dataroots is there sitting on the balcony waiting to be sung lovingly by Adele. The image itself, by the way, is also our album art and has also been generated with neural networks. Let's listen together.
When I'm lost in transition, I try to speak my mind. I hear myself just out to sing words of love, of beauty and of gold. I found on I cry when I'm lost in transmission. I try to speak my mind. I hear our voice and I start to sing words of love, of beauty and of gold. I fall down, I cry when I'm lost.
Voila, short and sweet. It clocks at 1 minute 40 seconds. Now, the thing is, it's a contest, and we also need your vote.